Uh, okay. Okay. So as I said, right, it's one of the important topic for your verbal ability. The weightage is going to be around about 3 questions, which has always been by now. But then again, that would change this time as the pattern has changed. So we don't know how many questions are going to be there, and we should not even thinking about it. Then how many questions are going to be there? The only thing that we should be thinking about is that okay, how are we going to tackle this? That's as simple as that. Okay. Now, couple of things that when we talk about parajumble, the odd one out, is that most of the time I've seen students cracking odd one out the way they crack parajumble, and that's where most of the problem comes into picture. Because when we kind of want to solve odd one out, and the moment we kind of put that into the frame of parajumble, the entire mentality becomes like that. Ki, I'm gonna first of all arrange it, and then I'm gonna talk, like kind of look out for the answer. So I will be arranging, let's say, and odd one out are going to be like you will be having odd one out for like 5 sentences. So there are going to be 5 sentences for your odd one out. Now, what you will do is basically you'll start arranging them the way you do for parajumble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This is what you will arrange, and then whatever comes in the end, you will be knocking that thing off because you believe that okay, that is going to be the odd one out. But always remember that's not the correct way to go for it. Why? Because you are doing double mehnat. Number one, we are actually arranging it the way parajumbles are worked out. So here you are spending a lot of time in understanding what is going to be the pairing. This is what exactly we learned in the parajumble, right? So a lot of time will be spent unnecessarily in pairing those sentences. Again, when you start pairing them, it's not only pairing that you need to understand, right? The first thing is that you kind of look out for pairing. Second, then you are a little bit worried about opening, and here getting closing is going to be a little bit problematic because your closing is something which is going to be an odd one out. So never do these things. This is going to be really time consuming. Now there is a way to go ahead with odd one out. The first thing is that you're not looking at odd one out as a parajumble. Odd one out is a very different thing altogether. Now, what are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites to kind of go ahead with the parajumble or rather odd one out? The prerequisite is that the most important thing to crack any odd one out is understand what the passage or what those lines, or you can say that what that para is all about. This is the most important thing that people do not understand. Number one. Number two, keywords. Play with keywords. Okay. And number three, which is the most important thing, is the main idea. What is main idea? The message that the author wants to convey. Simple. That's the way you need to look out for the odd one out. Now, what is odd one out? Something that cannot be fit. Listen to me very carefully. Something that cannot be a good fit. Okay. This is very important. You all need to understand this. What we have been taught, or what you might have been taught, that odd one out is basically you have to look out for something which does not fit. That's one thing. The other thing to understand odd one out is something that does not suit to the context of that para or whatever your author is trying to tell you. These are the things that are quite important. What we try to understand is क्या होता है odd one out? जो नहीं बैठ पाएगा, किधर नहीं बैठ पाएगा भाई? सेंटेंस जो सेंटेंस अच्छा नहीं है, जो सेंटेंस बैठ नहीं पाएगा, right? All these things. अब एक और चीज बताता हूँ. You might have been taught this way that odd one out is something that breaks the order. That breaks the order. Again, breaking the order does not really important, because what you need to understand is in parajumble, this is breaking the order can be a little bit helpful. But when you talk about odd one out, you don't have to worry about the sentence breaking the order or not breaking the order. The only thing that you need to understand, is it really suitable in the given scenario? Yeah, that's number one. The other thing which is quite important is that, is this sentence important? Is this sentence important? Now, what do you mean by important? The meaning of important here is that if I do not keep, if I do not keep this sentence, this particular sentence in the para or passage or those lines, if I do not keep this particular sentence in the para or the passage, will that impact the main idea, the subject, or the context of that para? And if you get the answer as no, it will not impact. If you take it out, then that is going to be your odd one out. As simple as that. Means अगर ये सेंटेंस मैं निकाल देता हूं, ये जितने भी 5 सेंटेंस मेरे को निकाल दिए हैं, ये 5 सेंटेंस में से अगर मैं एक सेंटेंस बकायदा बाइज अगर निकाल देता हूं, ये सेंटेंस निकालने के बाद जो 4 सेंटेंसेस बचे हैं, अगर उनके अंडरस्टैंडिंग में, अगर उनके मीनिंग में, उनके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, पैसेज के मेन आइडिया में अगर कोई चेंज होता है, तो वो जो सेंटेंस मैंने निकाला वो इंपॉर्टेंट था. पर अगर कोई चेंज नहीं होता है, इसका मतलब वो सेंटेंस का वहां पे जरूरत नहीं था. Now you might say that, sir, why are you talking about passage? Or sir, why are you talking about paragraph? Guys, always understand, it's a language. Everything and anything gets fit into the paragraph and get fits into the passages. Now, I can give you a passage like this, or I can break it and I can give you passage like this. Okay? Always remember. Always remember. A connector can never be an odd one out. ये थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनना, ये थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनना. अगर किसी को बेचैनी हो रही है क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने की, तो थोड़ा पानी वानी पी के आ जाओ, बिकॉज ये चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. हाँ, तो कनेक्टर कैन नेवर बी एन ऑड वन आउट. अब थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे आपको समझना पड़ेगा. ये चीजें हमने पहले भी करी है. To all my South Indian students and those who are not comfortable with Hindi, I will be explaining this in English also. Give me some time. तो इसमें क्या है कि जब हम बात करते हैं किसी भी पैसेज के बारे में, जो मैंने अभी आपको एक्सप्लेन किया, यहाँ पे ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि आपका पूरा का पूरा पैसेज का एसेंस क्या है. ठीक है? Now, this is what we do not follow most of the time, and that's where there is a problem. जैसे मैंने कहा कनेक्टर. अब कनेक्टर में क्या होता है? lot of people ask me, sir, but is a connector. But is a connector. As soon as, no sooner than, hardly had, to. See, all these are connectors. It means they connect sentence X to sentence Y. However, okay, nevertheless, these are the connectors, but their role is little different. These are the connectors, but their role is different. However, okay, how does however work? Plus, minus, nevertheless, minus, plus. I'm going to explain this to you. See, when we talk English and the way we frame our sentences, we literally screw it up. We all need to understand that yes, we literally screw it up when we talk about these things. Now, you will see that it's an experience for you also, that most of the people, when they talk English, when they use however, you might have seen, or rather you must have seen, 99% of the time, people use however randomly. At 1% of the time, you will see people talking about nevertheless. The problem here is that however is replacing nevertheless. You will not see people talking nevertheless, or you will not see people using nevertheless a lot, but you will be seeing people using however a lot, because however is doing job of however and it doing job of nevertheless also. But when you talk about however is a connector. However is a connector which connects positive and negative both the sentences. So the first sentence will always be positive, that I've been putting in a lot of efforts, however I could not get good score. That's okay. So the however ke baad you will always have a negative sentence. Now, this is a connector. This is a connector. But what you need to understand, the sentence that comes after however is a dependent sentence. Okay, it's a dependent sentence. It can stand on its own. That is not a problem. So kabhi you might see 1% of the time that however can be an odd one out. Can be an odd one out. Now, there is an exception. Now remember this, listen to me very carefully. All the 95 percentile plus, all the 99 percentiles, this is very important for you. However, you might see in the sentence, but here you need to understand, given you 5 sentences, if one sentence starts with however, listen to me very carefully. If one sentence starts with however, and the context of 1, 2, 3, and 5 is hell positive, then however doesn't make any sense. Can be an odd one out. Nevertheless, negative, positive. You are late for the meeting. Nevertheless, we can sit down and we can talk about it. So that shows the positivity. So it's going to be minus and plus. So most of the time you might see that in parajumble also, the sentence may end with however, but it cannot end with but, because but ka job is connect. You're getting my point. However is going to be a conclusion also sometimes. It concludes the message. The same can be applicable for odd one out. Okay. Now, it's $1 million rule for you all. I'm not sure whether you've been taught or not. I'll take a poll on that. But I'll give you one rule that works amazingly well in CAT, XAT, for all the exams in the world. The way I told you, demonstrative pronoun. And I told you one more rule, right? Which was connector. Demonstrative pronoun and connector works amazingly well for CAT. 90% plus questions you can knock off with this. In the same way, for odd one out. Always remember, demonstrative pronoun, any sentence that has demonstrative pronoun can never be odd one out. Any sentence that has demonstrative pronoun can never be an odd one out. Now, what I have got to know, or what my observation says, that when the sentence starts that, now this that cannot be the pronoun, demonstrative pronoun. X said to Y that the climate is beautiful today. Here this cannot be a DP. Guys, if you remember, direct indirect speech is what we have done in the grammar. Direct indirect speech, said to को क्या बनाते हैं, told बनाते हैं, right? He told that. So that has a different job to do altogether over here. Yeah. Now, if your sentence has that, that one particular experience. It means it's talking about that one particular experience. That's the demonstrative pronoun. That experience. Which experience? It must be given somewhere else. Now, that's where your life becomes even more easy, because now you see that the demonstrative pronoun can never be, rather, I'll kind of clear it, 99% of the time, demonstrative pronouns cannot be the odd one out. The 1% possibility or probability of having them in the odd one out answer, that this particular sentence has a demonstrative pronoun, but this can be an odd one out. There is a 1% possibility. This is called as an exception. And ये जो exception है, this is really important for all the people who want to jump from 95 to 99. This is a path breaker. So this is what you all need to understand. That something which is out of the context, can be an odd one out. Something which has a different main idea can be an odd one out. Something that talks about an alternative, can be an odd one out. Alternative का मतलब क्या होता है? कोई दूसरी चीज के बारे में बात कर रहा है. Alternative का मतलब क्या होता है? किसी दूसरी चीज के बारे में बात कर रहा है. I'm talking about an alternative. I'm not saying the substitution. I'm saying that alternative, right? So we're talking about IPL as a cricket league, right? That we are like now talking about, and then somebody says that okay, Test cricket can be done in this way. That's an alternative. That's a different ball game altogether. The whole paragraph is talking about my IPL kind of thing, but then somebody talks about the Test. Again, Test and IPL, both of them are part of cricket. So these are the specific examples. But you need to understand तुम्हारा passage किसके बारे में बात कर रहा है. If your passage is about IPL, the answer is going to be Test cricket as the odd one out. Now this is going to be very simple. Okay, this is going to be very simple. Let's do one thing. Let's begin with this session. Okay, this is the odd one out. Now, how shall I move ahead with this? I see these on the screen. How shall I move ahead with the things? I'll give you one free advice to everybody out there, all the students out there. One free advice to everyone. Now you are a C2C family. Doesn't matter which category you come from, 80% and 99, whatever. From today onwards, whenever you see a question or whenever you solve a question on your desktop, you need to understand how. If you want to learn something, if you want to crack CAT, the first thing that you all need to understand, ask yourself, how am I going to do this? So it's not about jumping onto the question, reading it, and kind of getting fumbled. Never do that. We would do all the mistakes like that. In my first attempt of CAT, we used to do same mistakes again and again. We used to get so impatient, ki bhai question hai, karo, and then we used to get screwed, man, completely. So how do you go ahead with this question? What's given in here? Now read this peacefully. They make films. They make films. They make films. They believe. Okay. Who they? People. Who they? People. Got it. So this one. It's a very simple thing. I'm telling you. Listen to me very carefully. They. Noun pronoun rule. Sometimes the signs are very subtle. You don't know what sign they are talking about. Leave. You would never notice them if you were just sitting with the child. Whatever. We don't know. Okay. We don't know. Now, the opening should be people, because that's what has been mentioned both the times. The opening should be people. People who study children's language spend a lot of time watching how babies react to speech they hear around them. Okay, we got it. They make films of adults and babies interacting and examine them very carefully. Got it. They believe that the babies begin to react to language from the very moment they are born. Okay. Sometimes the signs are very subtle, slight movements of the baby's eyes or the head or the hands. Okay. You would never notice them if you are just sitting with the child, but by watching a recording over and over, you can spot them. Okay, you can spot them. What can be the answer out here? What is happening out here? They're talking about babies and how babies react to the speech, right? How babies react to the speech, right? Look at number 2. They make films of adults and babies interacting and examine them very carefully. Again, here they're talking about the reaction. They're actually looking at the reaction. Here also they're looking at the reaction. It means they're studying that, right? Sometimes the signs are very subtle. Again, they're studying that. So what's going to be your answer? 3, 4? Sorry, number 3 is going to be the answer. If you agree, just put the comment over there. Or raise the hand if you agree with the solution. Anybody for number 4? Anybody for number 4? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to just understand. I'm looking at the pool now. Guys, you can raise the hand so that I can understand. Okay, now there might be a problem here that you might believe that 4 is the answer. Remember, the way it has been mentioned, they believe that babies begin to react. Babies begin to react. The whole passage talks about these guys examining these babies and how they react to it. So they know that babies do react. I mean, come on, they do react the moment they are born. Everybody reacts the moment they are born, right? But how does it happen? The process completely has been mentioned in 1 to 4, 5. So 3 is the answer. That's what I need to understand. Let's move ahead. Neuroscientist. Again, a good one. I'll give you a minute's time. You can do it in a minute's time. Okay. How do you go ahead with this? Understand this. The way I look at this entire question, okay? Okay, you can use the 1/3 rule out here. Okay. Even there. You know, when you use even, right, you understand that it's a continuation. I told you even after blah 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 stuff, right? So you know that even is used kind of show the continuation. Great. It turns out that moving our muscles produces, okay, in today's technology, okay, it's only in the past few years, okay. Now the best opening here, if you look at, is neuroscientist. Okay, neuroscientists have just begun studying exercises impact within brain cells on the genes themselves. Now we don't know what is it the opening or not, but it sounds like an opening because this gives us a kind of a purpose. This gives us kind of a subject. ये कुछ एक information बताता है, ये opening लगता नहीं ये opening है ही है. Even तो होगा नहीं. चलो number 3 पढ़ के देखते हैं. It turns out that moving our muscle produces proteins that travel through the bloodstream and into the brain. देखो यार connect keywords brain ये दोनों साथ में चल रहे. Perfect. Number 2, even there in the roots of our biology, they have found signs of the bodies. They have found, what is this noun pronoun? Who have found? Neuroscientists. 1, 2, 3 connected. 1, 2, 3 connected. आगे चलते हैं. In today's technology driven plasma-screening world, it's easy to forget that we are born movers, animals, in fact, because we have engineered movements right out of our lives. No idea. Sentence is there. No answer yet. It's only in the past few years that neuroscientists, okay, continuation. Neuroscientists have begun to describe these factors This is a demonstrative pronoun. It means even though you do not know what factors that they are talking about, these का मतलब होता है जो भी फैक्टर बोला गया है वो कहीं ना कहीं तो पैसेज के लाइन में मेंशन किया होगा फॉर श्योर। अगर अब बात करेंगे नंबर 1, नंबर 2, नंबर 3, नंबर 5, 1, 2, 3, 5 goes very well as far as the subject is concerned, as far as main idea is concerned, as far as the topic is concerned, as far as a common connection is concerned. What is not fitting here is number 4. You can take that out. And even if you just talk about number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, it does give you a good explanation. It gives you a good subject. It gives you a good passage. It gives you a good paragraph. It gives you a paragraph with a meaning. अगर आपने number 4 निकाला, even if you take number 4 out, the meaning does not change. It stays intact. And that's the reason number 4 is the answer. That's how you crack your odd one out. Okay. Now, if you ask me a little bit more explanation, whatever is given in the number 1, number 2 explains the finding of this study. वैसे अगर देखा जाए तो, right? And number 3 is also kind of an explanation for me. But I will not going to dig into it. I'm not going to go or have deep dive into it. I'm just going to tell you how do you crack it just by using certain formulas or just by using it in a technical way. अच्छा, नंबर 1 बात करते हैं न्यूरोसाइंस के बारे में, न्यूरोसाइंटिस्ट के बारे में. इवन देयर मतलब कनेक्शन तो होना ही होना चाहिए, देयर इज नो डाउट अबाउट इट. वापस दे हैव फाउंड मतलब न्यूरोसाइंटिस्ट वो एक ही सब्जेक्ट के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. नंबर 3 में ब्रेन्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ न्यूरोसाइंस. नंबर 5 के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं these फैक्टर्स, मतलब ये कहीं ना कहीं तो उसके साथ कनेक्टेड होगा. नंबर 4 अगर हम निकाल भी देंगे तो भी कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, पैसेज वैसा का वैसा ही रहेगा. सर नंबर 4 को निकालना जरूरी है क्या? बेटा जरूरी है, क्योंकि ये ऑड वन आउट है. ऑड वन आउट नहीं होता तो पैराग्राफ पैराज नंबर के जैसा हम सॉल्व कर लेते. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. बच्चा लोग, I hope this is clear. या मैंने एक्सप्लेन करा है, अगर लगेगा तो मैं बाद में वापस एक बार एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा. चलो, let's do this question. Okay, now this might be a little problematic for you. This might be a little bit kind of a brain teaser kind of thing. Okay, how do you start with this, right? How do you start with this? The water that made up, okay, particles from the sun collided, okay, most of the planet's remaining water is now frozen, okay, data from NASA's Maven orbiter, okay, a recent study reveals, this is your opening, a recent study reveals how Mars lost much of its early water, while another indicates. What is another study? What is another is study. What it indicates that some liquid water remains. Barabar, some liquid water remains. Okay. Data from NASA's Maven orbiter shows that solar storms stripped away most of Mars' one thing atmosphere. Okay. Okay. Most of the planet's remaining water is now frozen or buried. But clues over the past decade suggested goes with the study. The water that made up ancient lakes and perhaps an ocean was lost. Okay. Particles from the sun collided with molecules in the atmosphere, knocking them into space or giving them an electric charges that caused them to be swept away by the solar wind. Now, if you look at here, 1 second, I think screen is a little bit hang. 1 second. I think it's getting better now. 1 second, because my pen is not moving here. I hope this is getting better. Okay. Got it. Perfect. Okay. Fine. Coming back to the question. What am I saying? Recent study, 2 studies. Number 1 talks about Mars lost much of its early water. Another indicates that some liquid water, whatever. Number 4 is actually talking about, we marked like atmosphere, हमने यहाँ पे mark किया था. Data from NASA's Maven orbiter shows that solar storm stripped away most of one thing or atmosphere. That's okay. ठीक है. Particles from the sun collided with molecules in the atmosphere, knocking them into. So I see that there is a connection. There is a connection between sentence number 2 and sentence number 4 because they explain the study. They explained the study, right? Being water remaining on the planet and something like that. Okay. Now, what is number two? Number two says that particles from the sun collided with molecules in the atmosphere. Same funda chal raha hai, same gyan chal raha hai. Number three bolta hai, most of the planet's remaining water is now frozen or buried. Okay, okay. But clues over the past decade suggested that. So if I look at the connect, मोटा मोटी अगर मैं connect यहाँ पे देख लूँ, जो चल रहा है यहाँ पे, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2 talks about something which is in common. I do not need number 1 out here. Even if I just take number 1 out, it doesn't make any sense to my passage. It doesn't harm my passage. So ideally your answer should be 1. The water that made up ancient lakes and perhaps an ocean was lost should be out because it has no connection. But sir इधर water बोला है आपने वो ऐसा कुछ circle करा because यहाँ पे water के बारे में बात करा है. That's okay. हर एक keyword आपको काम नहीं देगा. यहाँ पे water के बारे में बोला था. The only clue that you need to understand is study. There were 2 studies that were done. So the opening is that there was a study that was done. We could see the 2 studies. They're explained in number 4 and they're explained in number 2. Number 3 also talks about the same thing. Even if you do not understand in real terms that what exactly it is talking about, what we can understand here is that yes, if we have to eliminate, what will be the better choice to eliminate? Is it going to be number 1 or is it going to be number 3? Answer is number 1 would be the better choice, the best suitable option for elimination. Number 1, done, understood. Okay. The more you read, the more you'll be confused. Let's move ahead. This is the easy one. Should be able to do it in 30. I'll let the key to crack this question. It's a very beautiful question. It starts like this. We often, we talk, we listen. Get it? Although we are born with the gift of language, research shows that we are surprisingly unskilled when it comes to communicating with others. Has to be opening. And I hope this is where you do not have a doubt. Okay. We often choose our words without thought. We talk more than we need. We are unskilled when we communicate with people, right? This is what exactly have been mentioned in number 3. We often choose our words without thought. We talk more than we need, criticizing. We listen poorly. But there is something that you need to understand is we must, suggestion, not a criticism. 2 is the odd one out. Done, understood. Medium question. Now there's a problem here. A little why there is a problem here. The problem is because the way it has been framed. Over the past fortnight, one of its finest. This is DP. Reference दिया है. One of its finest champions managed to pull off a similar impression. Okay. Wimbledon's greatest illusion is the sense of timelessness it evokes. Wimbledon, huh? Okay. 35 years and 342 days. Roger Federer, one of my idol. I follow him. Beautiful guy, amazing personality, great inspiration. Yeah. Roger Federer became the oldest man to win the single titles in the Open era. Blah 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 blah. Okay. One of its finest champion. It's Wimbledon finest champion Roger Federer. This is the opening. Period. Okay. So if 1 is the opening, 2 makes sense, 3 makes sense. Without using any logic ahead, without even giving a single thought to it, like second thought to it, period. 1, 2, 3. Now this is where I say that you need to understand the subject, the flow, the main idea, the context. ये क्या बात कर रहा है? 2 चीजें आपके यहाँ पे इन्होंने छिड़वा दी. It's finest champion Roger. It's Wimbledon का finest champion. 1, 2, 3 done, understood. तीनों के तीनों बैठ गए एक स्पॉट में, एक कैटेगरी में, एंड तीनों के तीनों सेंस बनते हैं, तीनों के तीनों सेंस बनाते हैं. Done, understood. Now there is a problem. Now the problem is that, look at number 4. Once he had survived the opening week, the second week witnessed the range of arrested Federer's genius. Okay, it talks about Federer. Given that his method isn't reliant on explosive athleticism, और मस्कुलर बहुत स्ट्राइकिंग, बोथ वल्नरेबल टू डीके। डीके का मतलब कहता है खत्म हो जाता है, कम 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 हो जाता है। There is cause to believe that Federer will continue to enchant for a while longer. Now 1, 2, 3 you will be able to grab very quickly. The problem is in number 4 and number 5. Which one we should leave? Because number 4 makes sense, number 5 makes sense, number 4 is a context, number 5 is a context, number 4 is a part of main idea, number 5 is also part of main idea, number 4 talks about the subject, number 5 also talks about the subject. Now here's a dilemma. This is called as silent killer, and this is the beauty of CAD. They'll give you such questions, you feel that easy, but again you'll get the break. But that's the reason I love CAD and XAD, like they're beautifully built up. Now understand this rule of best suitable option to eliminate is what you need to understand. इसको कुछ बोलते हैं बिजो करके उसका नाम रख देते हैं। बेस्ट क्या था वो, आई फॉरगॉट। बेस्ट पॉसिबल जो भी था, बेस्ट पॉसिबल सोल्यूशन व्हाटएवर टू एलिमिनेट, या बेस्ट सुटेबल ऑप्शन टू एलिमिनेट। जस्ट मेड इट अप राइट नाउ। ओके, बात क्या हो रही है, विंबलडन और विंबलडन का चैंपियन रॉजर फेडरर, ग्रेट। चैंपियन के बारे में कहा बोला है, नंबर 3 में बोला है, बराबर। सेकंड में क्या बोला है, विंबलडन्स ग्रेटेस्ट इल्यूजन इज द सेंस ऑफ टाइमलेसनेस। टाइमलेसनेस का मतलब हमें पता चला बिकॉज यहां पे ऑलरेडी उन्होंने बोला है इतने साल से वो बंदा खेलते आया है। तो जब हम थोड़ा सा मेन आइडिया को ध्यान से देखेंगे, वी विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि भाई यहाँ पे विंबलडन के टाइमलेसनेस के बारे में बात करिए एंड रॉजर फेडरर ने ये प्रूव करा है। इसका मतलब नंबर 5 विल मेक मोर सेंस देन नंबर 4, एंड दैट इज द रीजन आई कैन टेक नंबर 4 आउट एंड आई कैन कीप नंबर 5 टू हैव द मेन आइडिया इंटैक्ट, एंड दैट्स द रीजन ऑड वन आउट इज गोइंग टू बी नंबर 4। ये थोड़ा सा गुगली है गाइस, बिकॉज समझ में आ रहा है पैराजंबल बनाएंगे तो बन जाएगा, कोई डाउट नहीं, बट पैराजंबल है ही नहीं, इट्स एन ऑड वन आउट, और सब चीजें हमें सेम लग रही है। अब मैं आपको यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा बात बताऊंगा, मैं क्यों आपको डांटता हूं कि आप पैराजंबल जैसा मत करो, आप क्यों गलती करते हो। एक चीज याद रखना गाइस, पैराजंबल इज ऑर्डर, पूरा ऑर्डर, एंड एवरी ब्लडी थिंग इन द पैराजंबल, एवरी सिंगल लाइन इन द पैराजंबल मेक सेंस। ये समझ लो मेरी बात, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये कहीं नहीं मिलेगा, ना यूट्यूब पे मिलेगा ना कहीं मिलेगा। अगर आपको किसी फैकल्टी ने बताया होगा तो उस फैकल्टी की रिस्पेक्ट करो, वो फैकल्टी बहुत अच्छा है। याद रखना पैराजंबल का हर एक लाइन जो है वो क्लब होगा ही होगा बेटा, वो क्लब होगा ही होगा, और फॉर द फैक्ट वो क्लब होगा, वो मेन आइडिया से रिलेटेड है, वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट से रिलेटेड है, वो मेन सब्जेक्ट से रिलेटेड है, इसलिए तुझे वो क्लब करके बस तुझे ऑर्डरिंग करना है, समझा, बस तुझे ऑर्डरिंग करना है। किसी ने वेज थाली ऑर्डर करी, उसको दे दिया पूरन पोली, दे दिया उसको, क्या ढोकला दे दिया, जो भी दे दिया, रोटी दिया, राइस दिया, चपाती दिया, वेज थाली, सब कुछ दे दिया। अब खाना कैसे है उसकी ऑर्डर वो बंदा डिसाइड करेगा, खाना कैसे, हाउ टू ईट इट and what order he has to eat is something he will be deciding, that's up to him. But he ordered veg thali, everything is there in the thali, makes sense to that guy, in whatever order he eats, that's his problem, not my problem. Now in the veg thali, there is a little bit of egg given to him, what is that egg? Is odd one out. Samjha? That egg is odd one out because people feel that egg is not vegetarian. So what he does is he looks at the thali, like, okay, this is egg, odd one out. So odd one out will always and always going to have one bloody sentence that never fits, just never fits. Is it the case with parajumble? No sir, in parajumble everything fits. This is the reason I get mad at you when you tell me that should I solve it as a parajumble. Now I hope this is clear. अगर अच्छा लगा तो raise hand, ये तुम्हारे ज्ञान चक्षु खुल जाएंगे इससे। Very simple. And I go crazy when people tell that, oh, shall we, like, we will solve it like a parasymbol. No ways, man. No ways. No ways. Now, why this question is problematic? Because this question is more like a parasymbol, less like an odd one out, and you have to do odd one out. Now, the question here is that given you, or if somebody has served you a veg thali, if you're a foodie, you love idli, you love dosa, you love fafda, you love puran poli, everything you want to eat from that thali, and somebody tells you you have to take one item out. Now what you'll do? That's the problem. That's the problem. So you choose idli or dhokla, whatever. दोनों का processing same ही है मेरे ख्याल से. Are you guys with me? ये फंडा यहाँ पे है. ये तुमको समझा? Just sorted. Fine. I hope this is clear. चलो थोड़ा आगे चलते हैं. Question करते हैं. Very simple question. Very simple question. Should be able to do in 60 seconds. Give it a try, please. Okay. With all your permission, I want to solve this in my style. If you agree, raise hand. I want to solve this in my style. Okay? Now I'll show you something. A trick. Though geometric symbols and aerodynamics, swooshes are more than just skin deep. म्यूट पे जाना सब लोग. घर पे अगर सुन रहे हो तो म्यूट पे जाना, आवाज कम करना. Not understanding any fucking thing about it. Nothing. Bouncer. Nothing. Okay. Commonwealth Bank logo. Saurache. It's not just the logo. Suttoche. Graphic design and embedded cryptic reference because it adds story to the brand. They want people to spend more time. Logo. But the Commonwealth Bank logo and but can never be the odd one out. Number one is the answer. Bhai. Number one is the answer. Can I place the songs in your mind, in the back of the mind? Oh shit, I got it correct. Number one is the answer. Though geometric symbols and aerodynamic swooshes are more than just skin dip. See, this is just a kind of a gyan. But if you look at what exactly has been mentioned in a very detailed manner about the logos, is given in number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Number 5 cannot be odd one out here. Number 2 talks about the logo. Number 4 talks about the logo. Number 5 also talks about the logo. Is there anything that I can afford to take out? Sentence number 1. You have it or you don't have it doesn't make any sense. Or doesn't make any difference to your answer. Period. Alrighty. Our smartphones can now track our diets, our biological cycles. Oh, hi. Researchers have even coined a new term, orthosomnia, to describe the insomnia brought on by paying too much attention to smartphones. Okay, so what say? In a smartphone, number 3, sleep nature softeners is a blissful, untroubled state, all too easily disturbed. Okay, there exists no market for such apps, connected. A new threat to goodness race has emerged. Smartphones. Answer has to be number 3. Done and dusted. Some new shit I came up with today, man. Best solution, option, elimination. Fuck yeah. Okay. Now, let's move it with this. Much has been recently discovered about the development of songs in birds. Acha. Some species are restricted to a single song. Species, birds. Okay. Other have range of songs. ठीक है. Songs. ठीक है. Songs. ठीक है. The most important auditory stimuli. Half Janta, unconscious. What the fuck I just read, sir? Auditory stimuli. No fucking clue. What is it? Chill. Welcome to Cat and Sand. Yeah, I got it. They say birds. Something about birds. Okay, birds. The sounds of other birds. Okay. For all bird species, there is a prescribed path development. Okay. A bird begins with sub-song, passes through plastic song until it achieves species. When you read this, you kind of understand. This is mechanism. मैं थोड़ा jargon ज़्यादा use करता हूँ. Mechanism of development. Excuse me for my writing. I'm a guy. This is the best that you can expect a guy as far as the handwriting is concerned. Girls have got the Oscar in handwriting. Guys are still sucking at handwriting. This is kind of a process. Yeah. Number 1 talks about development. Connected. Number 4 talks about development. Connected. Number 5 talks about the process of development. Connected. 1 connected. 4 connected. 5 connected. The question is, which one will go out? 2 or 4? Some species are restricted to a single song learned by all the individuals. Okay, this is the bifurcation. This is a closed by. The most important auditory stimuli for the birds are sound of other birds. I don't think this is even required. Even if you take this out, it does not make any sense, or it doesn't break any sense as far as your an entire passage is concerned. You don't really have to be worried about other birds and their sounds and auditory stimuli, right? So the best solution, or the best possible option elimination, I think I'll make it best possible option elimination, should be number 3 out here. So my answer will be number 3. Excuse me, I'll go with number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5, which makes a lot of sense. Best possible option elimination. Now guys, pay attention. As India looks to increase the number of cities, our urban planning must factor in potential national disaster and work out contingencies in advance. Okay, authorities must revise. See, understand this. Authorities must revise. It's kind of a direction. It's kind of a command which is given to the authorities. Cannot be the opening. Extreme temperatures, droughts, and forests. This is an example. Example can never be the opening. There is no denying the fact that our baseline normal weather is changing. Oh, okay. There is no longer a question. There is no longer a question whether we will be hit by nature's fury, but rather when. So if you look at this, is kind of looks at an opening. I mean, see, I will not be explaining in a very detailed manner, because the point is that there are a lot of people, they might not understand it. If you're smart enough to understand, you can connect with me here. We got it. So don't have to explain. The more I go deeper, it might not help those students who are not able to kind of get that level. So you're going to keep it a little bit midway. Number 4 looks like opening. Rather, it is an opening, no doubt about it. Now, understand this. What is the main idea? The main idea is we've been completely screwed, yeah, because of the nature, and there is a possibility that we might have a natural disaster. So as India looks to increase the number of cities, our urban planning must factor the potential natural disaster. It talks about disaster. It talks about disaster. It talks about disaster. It talks about disaster. This cannot be the answer. Now you might tell me that, sir, but this is the connected. This has a connection with the main subject, which is natural disaster. This has a context. This is connected to main idea as a natural disaster. I get it. There is no doubt about it. But always remember, main idea, okay, main idea is a one-liner, and example is a part of supporting idea. ये मैंने आपको एक फ्री में चीज बता दी, ये याद रखना. Supporting idea अलग होती है, main idea अलग होती है. So supporting idea is not required, and these are the examples. The moment you say that natural disasters, this is universal. We know what natural disasters are in existence in the world or in the nature, right? When I'm talking about natural disasters happening somewhere on Saturn and Jupiter, unka kuch alag hi fund hai. We're not talking about that. We're talking very well about the Earth, right? So we know what natural disasters are there, and for the fact it's odd one out, we have to take out best possible option elimination. BPOE अभी ये चेंज हो गया. अगर पैरा सिंबल होता तो हम इसको पक्का एंड में रखते, कोई टेंशन नहीं है, बट यहाँ पे we have to take that out. Answer is going to be number 3. I hope this is clear. Can somebody just tell me how many questions we have done so far? Okay, I will explain this. I'll explain this again. It's about bees, then talking about bees, and then some entomologist somewhere, some guy said that something possibility, right? Impossible, something like that. Here it's kind of repeated. Similar pronouncement. Similar is what? It's what? It's not a demonstrative pronoun. It's a transition word. You can say that. It means similar when they are used. It means the same stuff has been discussed by the author somewhere else. There's going to be this, and this is connected to this. 2 is going to be the answer. I hope this is clear now for many of you. Okay. How to do this? Simple cheese. In many cases, time inconsistency is what prevents our going from intention to action. Okay. Okay. Opening. Giving a little bit of beginning disclaimer. For people to continuously postpone getting their children immunized, they would need to be constantly fooled by themselves, connected. Okay. In the case of immunization, however, don't even read. This is going to be there. There is no doubt about it. In most cases, even a small cost of immunization was large enough to discourage most people. Okay. What prevents people to do something? Inconsistency. Okay. Postponing is inconsistency, right? 1 will be there, 2 will be there, 3 will be there. Now here I see something a little odd, which is cost of immunization. Right? Will discourage most people they see. Not only do they have to think that they prefer to spend time going to camp next month rather than today, they also have to believe that they will indeed go next month. Again, postponement. 5 makes sense, 1, 2, 3, 5 makes sense. 4 talks about cost, 4 should be the answer. 4 talks about cost, 4 should be the answer. I explained to you sometimes back that you have to take risk. You have to analyze the pattern. Understand this. Displacement, odd one out. Rapid displacement. 5 should be the answer. Done and understood. Do you all agree? Just raise hand. If 5 is the answer, just raise hand. I want maximum people to raise hand if my answer is correct. I don't know what's the answer. I think 5 should be the answer. Dekhi pata chalta hai. There is no doubt about it. Beautiful. Let's move ahead. See, this is exactly what I tell you. The moment you kind of go ahead like this, the moment you start going ki ye maine pehle bhi kara hai, and all the questions that we have done right now with the same pattern, see, it has a pattern. Now you have seen, see, and see, kind of analyze your faculty also now. Analyze your faculty. कि बंदा हर एक क्वेश्चन को सेम नहीं करता, बंदा हर एक क्वेश्चन को सेम स्टाइल में नहीं करता, अलग अलग स्टाइल है. Why he has different approach towards different questions? That's my research, that's my study and pattern. All the guys who are in finance can very well connect with me. Finance matlab pattern, finance matlab analysis. But ये मुझे बहुत help किया. This is what exactly we've been taught in IME also. You got to check pattern. ठीक है guys, पूरा pattern के ऊपर फूट रहे हम. अगर गलत है तो मुझे बोल देना सर ये गलत है. मैं आपको kind of it's sorry, and then probably we can have a little bit brainstorming इसके ऊपर. But it's beautiful pattern. And all the questions that we have done till now with the pattern are all CAT questions. There is not even a single question which is out of CAT. Not even that. Not even from my books. Purely CAT. Parasymbol purely CAT. This thing purely CAT. Like anything that we do in Seduce Mentors, quants, DILR, any shit that we do has to be CAT, and CAT. I don't know. I cannot digest any question, or I just cannot love any question which is not a CAT question. So I kind of doubt the legitimacy of that question if it's not a CAT question. I would love to solve CAT questions. It's amazing. So guys, we're done for this question. We'll move to the next question now. Okay. Sorry, the recording was off. So that's how we do it, right? Pulses also help. That's the benefit. It talks about pulses. Report, right? The kind of a polished version of report. Report's outcome. B will be the answer. Simple. Okay. I hope this is clear. मैंने यही कहा, technically करने जाओगे तो इसमें बहुत दिमाग लगेगा. You'll not be able to understand what's happening. But if you look at from that perspective, you should be able to get the answer. You should never pick up these questions. Should never pick up this question. Look at the language. German scientists analyzing the 3,300-year-old bust have found evidence suggesting the new rendering of the entrance of the Egyptian city of simulate attempts. Fuck, sir, I can't even pronounce this. The miracle of the, what is this, Nefertiti bust in Berlin? Holy shit. By getting colossally awful sculpture. No. Should not venture into these things. Leave. But sir, why should I leave? Odd one out है. कर लेते ना सर. कर ले. 2 मिनट में कर पाएगा? शायद से. क्यों कर रहा है? छोड़ ना भाई, 2 मिनट में कोई दूसरा कर ले. Simple. Right? So this is where you need to understand the LOD. again this one is also little bit tough. मैं ये नहीं बोलता कि पूरा का पूरा टफ है, बट यार इसमें थोड़ा सा आपका टाइम जाएगा, इसमें थोड़ा सा टाइम जाएगा, बट ठीक है चलो कर लो इसको, इसमें थोड़ा अंडरस्टैंडिंग का जरूरी है, बट लेट्स डू इट. Look into the essence of that particular question, then there is a problem. I'll tell you, I'm attempting this. I'm not sure what is going to be the answer. I'm sure it's a cat question. Do check the answer key and all that, and do let me know if I'm wrong. But this is the way I'm attempt. Number one. Has to be in the game. Has to be in the game. There is no doubt about it. Has to be in the game. Now don't ask me why they have to be in the game. I've explained to you the rules, right? The problem is with A and D. The problem is with A and D. Now I'll tell you the problem with students. ये हमारे साथ भी हुआ है. ये हमारे साथ भी हुआ है. So the problem here is with the psychology. In odd one out, to mark first sentence, A as a sentence, will always be scared because you feel that that's the opening. You feel that that's the opening. How can I? It will start shivering. Karo ya na karo, karo ya na karo. You'll feel that, oh no. But if you want to mark D, like D odd one out, done and dusted, you won't be scared that point in time. So your risk is very less. And I've seen people doing that. Sir, this is in the end. We can take it off. पहला वाला market में फट जाती है. So that's the way it is. Anyway, jokes apart. What's happening? Let's read this. Now here is the approach. From confident to the less confident. What are we confident about? 2, B and C, perfect. I read C. Why? Length ज़्यादा है, content ज़्यादा है, message ज़्यादा मिलेगा. Let's move on. However, this also means that the Constitution is unable to directly confront obstinate realities like caste that flouts its fundamental tenets, because acknowledging caste amounts to confessing that the republic is more desired than the reality. Acha ji. Okay. This is not a defect. The Constitution is required to reflect the republic in the best possible light and most majestic when doing so. Acha. B and C are connected, confirmed. Let's look at D. Right from the preamble, where it presumes that we, the people, are indeed a unified and homogeneous collectivity. The Constitution treats hoped for outcomes as though they were established facts. Did not get anything. Though the mother of all laws, the Constitution is external society. I'll take my video a little down. And has a largely exoratory relationship to it. Now there is a problem between these two guys out here. This one and this one. Okay. C talks about people. B talks about people. D talks about people. Talks about Constitution. Okay. What B says, C says. Kind of what B and C says. You can see that happening in the D also. With the benefit of doubt or with the huge risk, your answer should be A for apple. Because though the mother of all, the Constitution is external to society and has a largely exoratory relationship. Exoratory का मतलब क्या होता है? Exoratory का मतलब क्या होता है? Something on a very high scale. But do you see anywhere this thing being discussed either in B or in C or in D? And that's the reason A should be the answer. That should be the answer, ideally. But again, the LOD is going to be a little higher for this. What to do? If it's theta, mark with the rules that I've told you, mark the way I mark them. If it's not a theta, don't take a chance, just leave it. Simple. Okay, I gave you some time that you could solve. Now what's happening? Okay, sea ice acts as a blanket on the top of the ocean, protecting the water from incoming solar energy and atmospheric heat. Got it. This effect accelerate ये डीपी अपना नहीं जाएगा कहीं पे भी. As the frozen coating disappears, coating, blanket, coating, connected. Its white surface is no longer there to reflect sunlight back into the atmosphere, so the ocean absorbs much more solar energy. Okay, what A says, D is an extension, B should not go away, C is the answer. That's it. Cat questions. I'll stop it for the day. Okay. I hope this makes sense. I hope now you understood. You read this, you understand this, it will take good amount of time, 10 minutes to solve it. The moment you play on key words as such, you'll be able to understand everything. First sentence is very important, and I hope you understood the first sentence because first sentence is very logical. It's a very common and it's a very simple kind of a sentence. You don't have to use your brains. पहला वाला sentence बढ़ते ही समझ में आ जाएगा. D में उसका extension है, B तो अपना नहीं जाएगा because that's a demonstrative pronoun. तो मेरे ख्याल से A, D, B makes sense. C should be the answer. That's the odd one out. I hope ये समझा. I hope ये समझा. 1 second. 1 second. Give me 2 minutes. I am gonna switch on the chats. I wanna spend some time with you guys. Okay. Guys, 1 second. Just 1 second. Okay. Poll for you guys. Just let me know how was it for you all. So it helps me to understand. Tomorrow we will be doing para summary. What time is it? 11:05. We can do 10 minutes ka Q&A. We can do 10 minutes ka Q&A. Wow. Thank you so much. Thanks. I'll share the poll with you. That's the result, guys. Thank you so much for all the love and appreciation. Thank you. ये 4% कौन है रे? 4% कौन है? शरारती बच्चा ये. Guys, shall we do some Q&A? ठीक है, चलो. थोड़ा मैं chat box on कर दे. Guys, 11:05 हुए हैं, मैं 11:15 को बंद कर दूंगा. और मैं आपको एक दो सेशन, एक आध सेशन में आपको एक्स्ट्रा दूंगा, आप लोड ना लो. बस आप कहीं बोलो मत, वो हम कर लेंगे अपने अपने में. You will have one more free session. 7 की जगह we will do 8 or probably 9, possibly 9, but 7 to 8 sessions is what. 7 तो promise था, 8 हम कर लेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, वो हम करेंगे. Don't worry, we will do that. किसी को बोलना मत बस. The constitution question actually took 5 seconds. Wow, demonstrative pronoun. Perfect. डिस्प्लेसमेंट वाला क्वेश्चन का लॉजिक सिंपल था. डिस्प्लेसमेंट डिस्प्लेसमेंट रैपिड डिस्प्लेसमेंट इज अ टाइप, तो उसको लेना ही नहीं है. दैट्स एन आउट वन आउट, सिंपल. वाईटी सेशन करना है मुझे आज. हाँ करना है आज वाईटी सेशन. गॉट ओनली 2 क्वेश्चंस रॉन्ग. वाओ यार, कितना क्वेश्चंस करा हमने ओवरऑल? ओवरऑल कितना क्वेश्चंस करा गाइस? 20, 18, कोई 16. ये तुम लोग मेरे सेशन में बैठा था ना भाई. कोई 15 बोल रहे हैं, कोई 16 बोल रहे हैं, कोई 20 बोल रहे हैं. बट आई होप आई हैव डन गुड लेवल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. आई मीन वी हैव कवर्ड मोटा मोटी ऑल टाइप ऑफ एलओडी, राइट? तो वो सही है. यू गाइस आर ओके विद इट, राइट? आपने पढ़ा था ऐसे? आपके क्लास क्लास में कहीं पढ़ाया था? थोड़ा फीडबैक दे दो यार, अच्छा लगेगा. जो भी बच्चे बाहर के क्लासेस से आए, ऐसा कभी ऐसा आपको